Is it not recording? There we go.
Welcome to the One Fall WrestleCast.
Tom.
Hey.
Hey. What's up, pal?
Oh, just checking my messages. I'm very important. I'm just kidding. What did we do with Derek?
Derek.
What happened?
Derek doesn't go here anymore.
Oh, he doesn't go here anymore? Okay.
No.
He transferred schools?
No. Hey!
Hey! Welcome back!
I'm not even excited now. Fuck you guys. No. There's no. So I was all pumped to be here, and then I just get shafted. Right?
Really? I had nothing to do with that.
What's up, fellas? Happy to have me. Happy to be here.
I mean, are you happy to be here, pal? Because
are you happy to have us?
Man, I had a little bit of a long weekend. I have to sincerely apologize to, of course, first off, the One Fall WrestleCast fans, and also Tom.
All 35 of them. Yeah, to me.
Yes. Also, yes, Tom, the Hitman Hart, as of this evening.
Do you have one?
Even though I'm quite sad to. Yes, I do. It's a Mortal Kombat.
Okay, good. I was wondering. See, I don't play Mortal Kombat with mine. I like it for Street Fighter and other random stuff, but not Mortal Kombat. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, all good. So yeah, I a little bit of overindulgence last weekend and might have fallen asleep on the couch. And anyway, here I am. I'm alive. All is good. I've apparently disappointed Walt and made him sad. And made Tom angry, considering the show I heard. There seems to have been quite a bit of a AEW love fest going on last week, which I love how I don't show up for a week and you guys just love all over this creature that I've been trying to sell to you guys for how many months?
Put on a good show. I want it to be good, but
we've said from the beginning we want it to be good, pal. It just it hasn't been, but
seems like
it's been there. You just gotta lower those rose-colored glasses and look at the true product you got. You guys went in with such high expectations. Yes, you do have to lower them. You do.
Outlaw Mud Show,
because you've went up here and you got to have time to get up there. You got to understand WWE's been around for how many years? Early 80s? Earlier?
I mean, it's an outlaw.
I was born in the mid 80s. I don't know,
bro. WWE's been around since like the 60s, pal.
Yeah.
Okay, then. Thank you.
WWF under Vince McMahon Senior.
It was not actually Vince McMahon Senior.
Yes.
Was he Junior?
Vincent the River.
No. Vince.
Thank you. I'm glad somebody got it.
Vince, as we know him now, is actually not a junior.
Is he the third?
Nope.
Is he just
He's
number one?
Just Vincent Kennedy McMahon. Vince McMahon Senior had a different middle name.
That's right. I forgot that names are stupid. I'm glad I'm glad my father didn't name me after himself.
Hey.
I mean, as long as he has a decent credit score, it's whatever.
Look,
but let's say this person in particular was a shitty, individual as far as that goes. I would be annoyed that I got to deal with that day to day. By what's that, like LifeLock and all that, to make sure my shit doesn't get all jacked up because my dad's over here taking off bad loans on a storage unit.
It's great for you, not for me.
Okay. So let's go around the horn here. Tom, what you drinking on?
So today I am drinking on pretty much the same thing I'm always drinking on. I got these Founders Centennial IPAs. They're pretty much my go-to. They come in 15, which is the correct amount of a case of beer. Well, not a 12 pack, it's a 15 pack. It's the correct amount.
I like it.
So I go with that because they got they're hoppy, they're malty, they got all the. It's just right. It's just correct.
Sounds delicious. I'll have to try one.
Fantastic.
What about you there,
Hell
little
of a salesman
shitbag?
on that one. Well, as you guys might notice, I'm going actually with the natural light, as
Nice.
might also be known as natty
Why do
light.
you still drink
Um,
Natty Light? You're an adult.
What
There were people who could buy
what I
it
prefer
illegally.
to do is actually put a canoe here in front of my sipping hole, so you can actually just go straight down your throat and not have to taste it. It actually goes down the same way as it does coming back up. Neither way is anyone's preferred taste, but in a pinch, it gets the job done for cheap. So that's my go-to tonight.
Hey, pal.
Walt,
Listen,
what do you have?
I enjoy a good budget friendly beer. I mean, I do drink hams on the regular.
I've enjoyed them with you as well. They are not bad.
For me this evening, I am getting ready to pour out this lovely Michter Single Barrel Kentucky Straight Rye. Came very highly recommended. So I can't wait to get into it.
I like that pop sound. That was really
isn't
good.
that just glorious?
I mean, it's better you than me, man. Rye whiskey hurts like in the morning and kind of going down. So it's
we shall see here momentarily, sir.
I mean, a single barrel might be just Le Magnifique, but any rye whiskey I have is usually it'll put hair on your chest and in your nose and in your ears. And
oh, that's smooth.
Oh, well, good. Apparently, I'm not paying enough for rye whiskey. I don't know that I want to.
I guess not.
Good stuff. Gentlemen, let's talk about some wrestling this week.
Oh,
That'd be
good.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, a couple of our favorite people to talk about were in the headlines this week. Mickie James has just came out today. She appeared on the season premiere of NWA Power.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Her
husband is there. But however, she is going to be the executive producer of their all women's product.
Ooh, wait, stop. They're doing an all women's product, like
they're
separate.
doing they're going to do.
This is going to be a complete separate offshoot.
It's just going to be one show for now. But she has been quoted as saying she doesn't care if you're under contract. She wants the best female talent in the world.
I mean, that's good and all. See, the whole women only thing. Like, I don't think there should be a men only, at least not in 2021. I don't think there should be a men only product. I think that wrestling is wrestling, and I think you got to kind of put it all together and make it make sense, and you put all the storylines and have the things together. It's too much to segment it and segregate it that much. I feel like that's a mistake. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but that's just my opinion.
Make
Power longer.
I think that they're kind of missing the boat with this because it's almost like The Simpsons did it. I mean, WWE already did this all women's thing, and they proved that while it was a solid draw, it wasn't the financial go-getter that they had hoped that it was going to be. No. Because had it have been, we would have had 3 by now.
Yeah.
So I mean, I like the move. I think that it's cool. I
they
mean,
had Ronda Rousey at the time. That was it was not. I don't know.
So I mean, I like the move.
So I don't really. I can't agree with you there that WWE did anything even remotely similar to that, though. They did one single pay-per-view.
And that's all that AEW or NWA is trying to do is one single pay-per-view.
What I'm saying, though, is this type of market's already been established in the Japanese market, and they've got multiple examples. And even over here and everywhere. There's Star and Glam and all that.
But
how? I mean, I get
full on. There's an audience for this.
I'm talking about the American.
You got to start it in the and you got to start it over here at some point.
Yeah, but like I said, WWE already tried it and it didn't make them the money that they thought it was going to make.
WWE has such a short attention span that it's not going to matter.
I'm just saying. For me, I would like it if Power was just a little longer. Truthfully,
yeah.
I'm going to put the if they're going to put the time into it, I would prefer them. If they want to do one all-women pay-per-view and just try to that's fine. If it's just a one pay-per-view thing, I'm actually all for that. Even if it's not a pay-per-view, it's just like a one-off show or something, and it's like we really try to blow the roof off the place. I'll watch it, absolutely.
Definitely.
Would I watch that every week? Probably not. But if it's part of NWA Power, will I totally watch it with NWA Power? Absolutely. Look, NWA Power, particularly when it started.
Power.
Right. When it started its first run of it came back and was just on YouTube. It was seriously it was the best. It was those shows were better than what Raw was at the time for sure. And they were it was probably one of the better wrestling products in existence. It was a good show from start to finish. There were good matches. There were great promos. And I saw guys who had recognized, who I knew, lots of great matches, lots of good promos, lots of back and forth. They had Jim Cornette, who was great on it until they canned him for making the kind of a racist chicken joke.
We all knew he was going to get canned eventually.
Yeah, although he called it a starvation joke. Not that makes it better.
No, it doesn't make it better at all. But no, to your point though, I mean, Power was awesome when it was on YouTube.
Right.
And it brought back that nostalgia feel that I think that we all watch wrestling for in the first place, right?
Oh yeah.
It's the studio wrestling. Studio wrestling.
Yes,
it's
exactly.
Studio wrestling's cool. I'm still a big fan.
Fucking phenomenal. Phenomenal.
It's such a different feel of the show. And the fact that they had him old timey, it's here's the guy, here's the announcer who's got it was very Mean Gene with the interview and the I was all into that, and they actually had who is LA Knight now, but he was always a big part, and he had to talk a lot, and he was real good, and so I always really enjoyed that. So yeah, you know what, I will give it a shot. So if it's just a one-off show, I'm absolutely down to give it a shot.
We'll check it out.
If it's a weekly thing, I'm not gonna watch it. But if it's a one-off thing, I will.
It's hard enough to fit it. It's hard enough to fit NWA Power into the lineup every week,
right? Yeah,
I mean, let's be honest.
Right.
So let's really be honest and say that it's getting easier with how Raw is acting lately.
Yeah, that's 3 hours I ain't gonna watch.
Listen,
for a little while.
Are they just hit and repeat on?
They're just recycling the episode
on the iPod,
every time. I'm listening to the same song every time.
I'm pretty sure Vince has just got to the point that he doesn't remember what he did last week.
Literally, not as much this week as last week, but last week I had to kept checking to make sure that I wasn't watching an old episode, especially when the match was Lana and versus Mandy Rose, and I was like, are we kidding? What's the what? Now they've released Lana, so they can't have that matching every week, but
no.
That's
how they fixed Vince. Is they're like, listen, we're sick of seeing the same matches every week.
You put these same
so if we get
four
rid
women
of them,
in the ring every week. You just
somehow they haven't gotten rid of Charlotte yet, but we got to figure that one out.
Match again. I just can't watch this match again. I don't care.
Why is Charlotte in a triple threat every time?
Every week. She never loses. She's never the one that gets. Sometimes she is in a roll up, and she comes up all pissed, "How could I lose in this meaningless bullshit?"
Sure. Yeah, it's meaningless bullshit. That's the point right there. Exactly. Yep.
Hey, so speaking of meaningless bullshit, let's talk about CM Punk.
Yes, please. I know what you're talking
Mustache
about.
Daddy.
So CM Punk was quoted this week as saying Roman Reigns is finally the guy that WWE has been pushing him to be for years.
Oh, I thought you were going to go with another quote, but yeah.
Wow, what was the other quote? Did I miss
the other quote? Was that something to the tune of
watching
WWE is written for an audience of one by nincompoops and it doesn't work and something like that.
Yeah,
wow, I was actually referring to he tweeted back at Renee Paquette and John.
No,
Moxley.
They're friends. Yeah.
Oh, I did not realize that they were.
Yeah.
Punk and Renee are like homies, pal.
Yeah, they're
okay. Because I was like, ooh.
No, there's no heat there. That's friendly.
Yeah. So
I see.
What do we think about what do we think about all the shade CM Punk's throwing at WWE this week?
I mean, this week. Like he
I mean,
WWE all the time.
it's been a little more prominent this week than it has in past weeks.
I mean, I think it's deserved.
Okay,
truthfully.
so
it's deserved. I mean, you gotta. I mean, you gotta own up to, when you do stuff that's real stupid, and somebody's like, "This is dumb." It's
real stupid.
I mean, it's deserved. He's that's what I think. I think that he's correct in his he's watching the same thing I am. He has his eyes work. That's how I feel about it.
And I'd say the person that it's coming from, that actually adds a lot of weight to it. And while he's not going to be popular at this point, he's a nobody to anyone outside of the wrestling industry, not even the UFC or any sort of mixed martial arts. Nobody cares about CM Punk.
Not
no, he doesn't. No, he doesn't do movies. He doesn't do anything. He's to the general public. No one knows who CM Punk is.
Well, he is on He is on Stephen Amell's new show called Heels. He's going to be a character.
I have no idea who Stephen Amell is.
He was Arrow.
Arrow, pal.
Arrow. He's best buds with your boy Cody Rhodes.
Oh.
Well
then.
I don't know people. I've never watched a TV show.
I don't know people. I don't watch TV shows. No, I watch nothing. Anyway, but he, I don't think his words have as much influence in the general audience that's actually sit there watching WWE.
No, nobody cares.
Right. At this point, he's old news. He doesn't done anything impactful. He had a horrible MMA career. Just shut up. He's trying to make himself relevant. It's not a big deal to anyone outside of our community.
He's trying to get himself.
He's not a big deal to anyone outside of us.
That heel show is going to be a big deal. That's going to be a good ass show.
Yeah, it's supposed to be awesome.
It looks awesome.
I don't think CM Punk's opinions matter, is what I'm trying to say to answer your question earlier.
But I mean,
that's all.
You're not gonna tell me that with all your fucking indie bullshit, you weren't riding his dick fucking 7 years ago.
I mean, sure, but that was then. What have you done for me lately? Nothing.
That's a fair opinion.
He went on to make a hell of a lot of money, and he did just fine. Like, I'm not hurting. I'm not like saying he never should have done that. He's a sellout. None of that. No, that's go make your money, and that's fine. And if you're relevant still, that's great. But he's not relevant anymore, bro. That's all.
He's always going to be relevant in the internet wrestling community, pal, because he is who he is.
Hot take.
So, CM Punk talking about writing for an audience of one and performing for an audience of one was a direct quote based on a lot of nonsensical things that happened this week in old WWE universe.
Well, it depends on what happens next to whether or not it's actually nonsensical. But
I just don't really understand this move. And in case nobody is aware, WWE had another round of releases, and
we might be talking about this like new releases every week for like the next.
Yeah. And obviously we will allude into some other conversational points on this. But this was this was a lot of big names.
These were shocking. Yeah.
This was not your run of the mill.
I think my exact quote is, "What the fuck is going on over there?" Like when I first saw it. So
let's go ahead and let's. I'm gonna throw the whole list out there. Very first one was Santana Garrett.
Haven't seen her for a while, but Headband Power. I thought she was good, but I mean we haven't seen her in like a year.
Yeah, well, you know,
so not super shocked.
Ruby Riott.
I can't believe they use Ruby Riott literally weekly. I can't believe they released Ruby Riott. Also, she is beloved in the locker room. She can't be making tons of money either, like budgetary reasons. Like, I mean, I know she's on the main roster, so she's making main roster money, but at the same time, like, that's just like a slap in the face. And they kept Liv Morgan.
Well, I mean,
it's more of a like Liv Morgan punishment than anything else. Although Liv was out this week, so
listen, pal. Okay, first of all, who's got the echo going on?
I don't know. Not me.
I can hear myself.
Maybe me.
Maybe it's me. Maybe.
I don't hear echo.
Everything comes through my headphones, so I don't know.
I don't know.
You still hear it?
No.
All right.
Okay. Sorry. You're driving me nuts.
20 minutes. Edit it out.
Hey, thanks, pal. So for me, like the Ruby Riot thing, like, okay, bye. I could care less. I really could.
I'm actually glad to hear that opinion.
It was shocking in the fact that like it was Ruby Riot. But from the standpoint of, you know, what she has to offer, bye. I'm good. Bye.
I think out of all the people they released, she would probably be the best AEW signing. Because immediately she'd be one of their top workers. She's got a way different look than anybody else on their roster. And I would honestly she would be Heidi Lovelace. She'd go back to, I think, her other her indie name. But I mean, she's over. She's got fans. She'd bring them with her.
And you know what? Maybe it's one of those things because, you know, she was so highly touted on the indies and like you said, she has fans. Maybe a change of scenery will do her some good.
Yeah,
I'm not feeling
And that's
it,
the
man.
problem I had with it is, you know, she came in here and she was highly touted from the indies. I had no, you know, experience with her. I'm more of a local indie guy around here, so I don't want Walt to you know, make it seem like I'm some hyper indie New Jersey type of guy that knows everything the hell's going on. But yeah, she didn't do a whole lot for me in WWE. I'm sure it was obviously misuse, and she just didn't get a good push like she should have. She's a great hand, as far as I understand. Obviously, everybody was super bummed to see her go.
I think she's a big locker room leader too. She's like
exactly.
Definitely.
Yep.
Yeah, they really liked her in the locker room.
That was the, I mean, that was the sentiment on Twitter and Instagram this week, you know, was just that how valuable she was in the locker room. So, I mean, like I said, maybe a change of scenery will do her some good. Maybe she'll be back. Who knows? Moving on, the next one was Lana.
I mean, I can't believe they kept Lana on as long as they did.
I couldn't. And actually, you know, listen, guys, if we remember correctly, whenever her and Miro were involved in the cuck angle with Bobby Lashley, she actually signed a 5-year extension, and they didn't offer Miro a new contract extension. So, and then I mean, what are we? We're not even a year removed from that.
No, we're not.
Like we're 6 months removed from that. If that, and they cut her out, which again I think is the right move. She's definitely improved on the in-ring side of things, you know, and I thought that her little tag team that she had with Naomi was a chance for both of them to find some relevancy because I mean, let's face it, Naomi hasn't been relevant in 5 years.
So I thought that blew, and I thought that it continued to keep Naomi irrelevant. I think Naomi's going to go back to being irrelevant. And I truthfully, if they release Naomi next week, I won't be shocked. Although her husband's now in the main event of the biggest storyline of the biggest thing with Roman Reigns, and so they won't. But good Lord, it was. Yeah. I mean, I can't. They released her in the fact that I don't have to see that match again for the 300 millionth time. Hey guys, you're gonna go back out and have another match this week, same like last week, except this time you win. No, you win. Oh, you count out. Oh, it's a roll up. Stop. I'm glad it's over. It had to go. Lana was the casualty. I don't. If this is how it ends, that's fine.
But they also, in the process, split up two women's tag teams in an already floundering and weak women's tag team division.
Yeah, that's the truth. That's a true story.
What's the point of even having it at this point? I mean,
there is no point of having it at this point.
As we already mentioned earlier, the attention span is just zero, and they even introduced belts, NXT belts, WWE belts. Are we serious right now? And then you've done split up the Iconics.
I think WWE is about to be pulling up some NXT female talent. I think NXT is starting to be a little bit loaded with females who are very good, but in sort of over tag teams.
And that's where I want them to stay.
I think they're not.
Yeah.
I don't see
I agree.
Shotzi and Ember Moon being that great. I know everybody,
They're for sure. Well, I mean, I think they want to get Ember back. Ember's over, and I think they want to get Ember back on the main roster. They're super hot on Shotzi too. I think they want to get her on the main roster. I'm just saying.
I'm not a fan either.
Is where it's at.
I
think
they want to get them up too. I don't think Raquel's title run is going to be much longer. I think she's going to end up dropping it. I think they're going to pull them both up to the main roster.
Yeah, see, I don't see that. No.
See, I think they're about to go shopping because I mean they've got.
Who is the way going to face like that?
I think they might pull up the way too. I think they're going to break up the way. I think they might pull up Candace and what's her name?
He doesn't want to go. I honestly don't believe he wants to go. I think he's like shit. I'm losing his name here.
Who, Johnny?
Johnny Austin Theory,
like Ciampa.
No,
yeah, talking about Austin Theory.
I was trying to say that I think that Johnny's like Ciampa in the fact that he doesn't want to be moved up, and he's comfortable where he is, and he's elevating this young talent, which is fantastic.
I don't think they're going to necessarily move Johnny up. I think but I do think they'll pull up Candace and Indy.
How long until
Candace is doing the exact same thing? She's sitting there pulling Indy up. It's great. She's made her.
I think she's going to pull her up to the main roster. I think they'll put them on Raw.
The moon.
I think they're going to put them on Raw. Yeah, I agree with you too there, Walt. I think Karrion Kross is soon for the. I feel like he's more suited for the main Raw. Like he's more of a Raw guy. Like his match quality is not quite that level really. Like it's very like he would be much better. With like this exact gimmick would be much better versus Drew McIntyre or Bobby Lashley than it is versus any of these guys in NXT.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. Let's keep it moving. The very first of the top three, I will call them, was kind of it wasn't really a surprise, but it was a surprise. It was actually. For me, it was really disappointing to see this name on this list, and that's Buddy Murphy.
Yeah.
Well, we've talked about him previously, and obviously all three of us, I believe, were pretty impressed with what he does.
God,
brings to the ring. And
I can't believe how do you fuck that up? Like Buddy Murphy.
Yeah.
You couldn't they gave this guy turds and they gave this guy chicken shit and he made chicken salad out of it.
He sure did.
And again, it was brought up earlier. How much was this man making? Surely it was not that big of a budget cut.
Surely it couldn't have been a lot of money.
$250,000. I'm assuming.
Yeah, I would
maybe that's your bottom line. I don't know.
I'd say probably half.
What do you think their bottom line is? Like, say their entry level contract.
Entry level contracts probably $250,000, probably a quarter of a million.
I'm thinking. Quarter of a million.
I feel like somebody like Murphy who was high for a little while, man. I mean, he was a cruiserweight champion.
He was,
and they were trying to use him to elevate that cruiserweight division. And man, I gotta feel like he was probably a half a million a year kind of guy. But still, in the grand scheme of things, that's pocket change, and you're taking away the opportunity of somebody to really shine who has put on a lot of phenomenal in-ring performances.
I mean, he's
with the guy that we're about to talk with next, especially.
Murphy's gonna end up somewhere.
Oh, 100%. He tweeted out this week.
He'll probably end up in New Japan, I would imagine. And oh my God, is he going to put on good matches in New Japan? Oh my God.
He tweeted out this week that he's in the prime of his career and he can't wait for somebody to gobble him up. I think you're absolutely correct, Tom. New Japan will definitely be a way to go.
I think just the thought of him in new, like his size is perfect for those guys. Just the way he works, it would be him versus Will Ospreay would be just.
Well, we're not going to see Ospreay for a while.
That's right, he's hurt. But whomever. I mean, they could pull in literally a plethora of their guys who are just. The sky's the limit. This might be the best thing that ever happened to him.
Yeah, isn't it? And that happens. I mean, that really does happen. Derek, what do you think about Murphy, man? Like, where do you think he's going to land?
Honestly, like I said earlier, man, I'm really a huge fan of Murphy. He did a lot of good things for the WWE. He honestly took that Cruiserweight Championship on his back and made it something prestigious, whereas before, it was a shit show. I mean, I had no interest.
Listen,
Wow.
he defended that motherfucker on WrestleMania, pal. Like, let's not forget that. That's the only time that belt's been on WrestleMania, and he was the guy holding it. So
Murphy was a match too. They had a diamond in the rough right there. I don't know what the hell they were thinking whenever they released him. There was absolutely no reason for that.
I really feel like they could have found a spot for him.
Absolutely.
In Seth Rollins again.
I think away from Seth's orbit, please. Well, if you want to go the easy route, put him with Seth. If you want to do something else, I guess you could until the Raw shakeup. The roster shakeup, I should say, that's going to be coming here in a couple weeks. Well, a couple months.
Yeah,
the draft should be coming up. There's going to be a shakeup, so
it's forthcoming.
But yeah, so make him relevant, put him in the mix, and there you go.
It's a bummer nonetheless. I think that he's definitely gonna find a home, and he's gonna be somebody that we're gonna be talking about outside of the universe, man. It'll just be to be determined where he's gonna land. I alluded to this a little bit earlier, man. The next one on the list was one that really, really doesn't make sense to me. I've been an advocate for this guy for the better part of 33 episodes. And to see his name come across my timeline this week, especially with what has been going on SmackDown, was a complete and utter shock to me. And that was one Aleister Black.
Man, I mean, again, it's one of those just I feel like the rebooted character was going to be good too. I
guess apparently he was supposed to be a psychic is what he was trying to get across.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the rebooted character, the way I heard it explained was he was the devil, but he doesn't know he's the devil. And the way that it came across was just, it seemed, I mean, I was into it. Obviously, I feel like a feud between him and Big E, which was teased 2 weeks ago.
Yep,
was going to be great. Like that. I mean, what a matchup! Like that's like the matchup in the feud that I didn't know that I wanted to see. And then nothing happened the week after that, and I was like, well, that's weird. And they're like, oh, well, we didn't want to rush it. And then now they released him, and why release him now? Like, you left him in friggin' catering for 6 months, but now
yeah, like that's the most like mind-boggling thing is that you just paid this guy for the last half a year, 6 to 9 months to do nothing,
to hang out in catering.
And then all of a sudden you put him back on TV and you're pushing him, and like he's getting dropped right into the IC title picture, starting a feud with Big E. And
2 weeks ago, he was the last face you saw when they zoomed out of their 2 million plus viewed show a week. He was the main event, the last guy you saw 2 weeks ago.
And then the next week he didn't have a fucking job.
Well, 2 weeks later, he didn't have a job,
but still, it didn't make any sense. Derek, I know you're low on this
part
guy.
About this is there's the best part about this. I don't have to mispronounce his name anymore.
No, because
that's why
now
you don't like him, because you can't talk.
I don't want to say fuck him. He was a great worker. I mean, I enjoyed his matches, but I just didn't care about the gimmick, and that's not his fault. It's what he was given. I mean, it is what it is.
I like the gimmick.
Fine,
bro.
I mean, him as a person, I'm sure, is great. Him as a worker is great. I just didn't care. I didn't care.
So,
it is what it is.
I will say this. You want to talk about prime candidates for AEW? This guy.
Yeah, you're right.
100%. We're going to give it 3 months, let the 90-day go out, and he is going to wind up on television.
Oh, my. If his phone's not blowing up right now.
But if they're going to pick up Andrade, they sure as shit are going to pick up.
Joe should be up soon, yeah?
What is he? What is he called now?
Tommy End.
Tommy End.
Yeah, he needs to change that. That's not a good name. They need to.
It's a fun name.
That was his name through the whole spiel, bud.
I get it. To my end. I get it.
I love that you pick your name and you stick with it. I want you to stick with it, and I don't care how many gimmicks it changes. You stay.
I wouldn't hire Tommy End. He could change his name. Tommy Black, anything else.
Fuck no, there's already a PJ Black.
It just doesn't matter. No. It's got to be something else.
And before that, what was Seth?
Tyler
was
Black.
Tyler Black.
Yeah.
Tyler Black. Hey, Seth Rollins just opened his top-notch coffee shop in Davenport, Iowa this week.
Well, that sounds like it's
Seth
terrible
Rollins
and expensive.
awesome. I don't know if you saw him on Friday night, but my man is.
Listen,
look, I know Seth's going back to Raw because somebody needs to save Raw, and it ain't going to be Roman Reigns. But good Lord, I am in love with the run Seth Rollins is on.
Listen, when he unclipped the microphone from his lapel, and they zoomed in on his face, and he went.
I loved it,
and then he flicked it at Kayla. I lost it.
It was the Razor Ramon. It was awesome. It was awesome. He could do no wrong in this character.
I'm happy with where he's at.
I really am, and I want him to go to Raw, and I want him to be just as much of a prick, if not more, and just because oh my God, he's so unlikable that I love it because you can tell that everybody who's the fans are just I hate you, and God, that's delicious. Give it to me. I love that. That's what I want. So
it's delicious. This
is it delicious? Okay, I hope you're gonna feel it in your bones tomorrow.
Probably not. I hope I don't drink this whole bottle tonight because it is really good.
It'll be an expensive night.
Really, really good.
Expensive night, my friend.
Derek, what do you think about Tommy End ended up in AEW? Huh? You good with that?
And I mean, it's inevitable. Let's be honest. It's gonna happen. Sure. I'm not stupid. They've got the money, and they're gonna definitely write a check for that guy coming over here. Is he gonna be Tommy End? Most likely, absolutely. It seems like that's what they want to do, is give their performers the ability to bring their indie characters over and retain the rights to them, and that's kind of a selling point for them. Hopefully, it gets them a little less of a contract on Tommy End because I'm not super high on him. But, it's a buffet, and there's not going to be everything for me. So it is what it is.
I mean, I do think he ends up – I think he's AEW material, and truthfully.
100%.
Yeah, I think. Oh, yeah, they're picking him up. Yeah.
I think that for sure he would be – I tell
you what, I know we haven't
roster.
spoken about him yet, but here's who I want as an addition from all the releases is Braun Strowman.
Oh, okay.
Myself
let's go into that.
I would love that. That a huge man coming in, Dark Order.
Listen, pal, that is a former Universal Champion.
We were. It's not even it's a few months ago he was Universal Champion. He beat.
He
Goldberg.
Was just in a pay-per-view for Universal. Was it not?
Pay-per-view. We're not. No, it was for the WWE Championship.
Yeah, but still, that is a same event
equivalent
guy.
Yes,
that you just cut.
I mean, he had a big salary. He was $1 million.
Sure that
he was $1 million plus a year.
Sure.
So
that one makes sense as far as salary goes. That's what you want to use
for budgetary reasons because he was.
I'd love to see him in AEW, and I'd love to see him take over the Dark Order. I think it would be great. Not take it over, but you know what I'm saying.
Here's what I
do: the Dark Order right there.
I want him to show up by himself, and I want him to kill Kenny Omega and everybody in Kenny's little posse. I just want him to show up and kill everybody.
Yeah,
I think. Oh my God!
Get behind
Can you imagine? Oh my God! That would be to me.
Why do you did this last episode too? Why do you do this, Tom? Why do you hate Kenny so much?
I hate Kenny.
You can't get past the gymnastics and look at the character that he's been building.
Look,
it's the character. This is going on for months.
Shut up! You asked a question. Shut up. Let me answer it.
I got to get my question out. All right.
You said, why do I hate Kenny Omega? I'm going to tell you why I hate Kenny Omega. Look, he's not a good wrestler. All he does is knee people. His gimmick is dumb. He never is ever in a good feud. He just has this look. He should be in a feud with Jon Moxley. I understand that Jon Moxley is going to go have a baby, and so they had to F off and do that. But
he has shit to do.
On their biggest pay-per-view of the year, he faced Orange Cassidy, who, let's face it, is not main event material at all by any stretch of anybody's imagination. He is He peaks at European champion. D'Lo Brown.
Can I jump in just right there real quick?
Triggered.
Please.
Triggered.
Can I?
You just triggered Derek, pal.
I just like give me 2 seconds, Tom. Okay, so your Orange Cassidy shit last episode. I heard that little shtick you had, and you said he wasn't a main event person and that he had only certain moments through the match. That's his freaking gimmick, bud. That's his gimmick. What do you want him to do? 95% of the time his hands are in his damn pocket. If he comes in and does a punch across the ring, then crowd goes nuts. That's what we want.
No, that's indie bullshit.
Listen, guys.
That's indie bullshit.
Guys.
That's not a main event thing. It's indie bullshit. That's outlaw mud show.
It's what the crowd that watches this show wants.
The crowd is outlaw.
What do you want?
Show, and that's why they only had 400,000 viewers on Friday.
That's because Friday was an off night.
Oh, okay. Well,
it's normally Wednesdays. It's normally Wednesdays at 8.
Hey, guys. It's okay.
It's turned into a damn news show over here.
All right. Well, and hold on.
Y'all are fighting about Orange Cassidy.
Look, I didn't even fucking answer the question yet. You fucking interrupt me. Why do I hate Kenny Omega? Because he sucks. He comes out, oh my God, 7-star Kenny. He hasn't put on a 2-star match, let alone a fucking 7, 5, 6, whatever star match. He hasn't put on a 2-star match. Fact. 2, his title run thus far, he has been the weakest AEW champion by far. So weak.
Fact.
Good Lord. He's not even as important. He is less important than just about anything else on AEW. In fact, their biggest pay-per-view, which just happened, his segment, his triple threat match was the shittiest match by far on that show.
Fact.
But, like, not even close. Like, every other match on that card was like, wow, that was really, really good. That match was every bit as bad as I expected it to be. And it sucked. It sucked my balls. And I don't ever want to see a fucking match like that again. In fact, if Braun Strowman comes out, if Kenny Omega goes away and is only on Impact for the next 3 months, and then Braun Strowman comes out 3 months from now and kills him and just takes it, like rips him in half and throws one chunk of him into one part of the crowd, the other chunk into the other part of the crowd, it takes his title, be like, this is mine now. And just like that would be the best thing to happen to AEW.
And Derek, to be honest, pal, you would be into it.
Oh, I'd be into it.
Derek would be into it.
You boys are delusional. You're over here worshiping your fucking Vince McMahon.
Not worshiping
over here.
Not worshiping. Just
he's cutting everyone. Your show sucks. Can you just give it?
It's my show. I'm just saying Kenny Omega sucks. Loved that pay per view. Loved it hard.
Yeah, the pay per view was awesome, pal. But you wouldn't know that because you weren't here.
No, yeah. You're
I listened to it.
Who's a sleepy boy? Who's a sleepy boy?
I was sleeping like
the one time that Tom and I come in here with positive shit to say about AEW, and you fucking fall asleep face down on the couch.
It's all backhanded bullshit. That's why I'm I still face the same. It's my struggle. I got to be an AEW fan against your hype machine.
I'm not saying you don't have to be a fan. You could be a fan. Like, you need to call bullshit where it exists. And
I do. And that's
you don't.
It's not. No. His gymnastic shit sucks, but the idea doesn't suck.
Twinkle Toes McFingerbang, he sucks.
Yeah, hey, okay. So does
why
anybody
are we
care?
singing at each other? We're so mad.
Does anybody care about my opinion on this matter?
Yes, I actually do care. I care immensely. Please.
So I agree with both of you.
Braun is what the opinion is, right?
No,
Kenny.
We're past Braun. We know Braun's gone. We all know that he's going to wind up in AEW. It's just a matter of time. Now we're talking about Kenny Omega and the possibility of Braun Strowman ripping him in half.
Yes.
Because I've got to imagine that if he shows up on AEW television, he's going to be firmly implanted into the main event picture, right?
How could he not be?
It has to happen.
Right?
Or maybe in a couple of weeks, WWE calls him back and says, hey, bud, we need you to show up at SummerSlam. Because I've heard rumors about the top 2 people on this list, Braun Strowman and Aleister Black, both possibly being kayfabe released. So we shall see. But
that could
anyways,
be cool.
yeah. But anyhow, you guys are both right about Kenny Omega. I'm not a fan. I don't care for Kenny, and I don't care for his in-ring abilities, at least for the North American crowd. I'm not a fan. I enjoyed some of his stuff from Japan when he was over there. Yeah, but he's not what we thought he was going to be, and maybe that's by design. And
It's a
Derek,
lot
you're
harder when
absolutely right.
Okada's not calling your shots, I think.
Derek, you're absolutely right. The story is a lot of fun. The problem is the story being fun has taken away from the AEW World Championship when it needs to be in a situation where it is heavily featured and promoted. And I don't feel that it is, because it's being paraded around in the center of a ring with 3 other promotions fucking championship belts right next to it.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Can I finish and then you can
You
ask your
ask us
question?
questions.
At that point,
Save the questions for the end of the interview.
At that point, okay, when you don't elevate your own championship above your competition's championships, because they are all considered to be equal now, as to where you should be building up your own championship legacy. You are now aligning it with lesser companies. So the idea of the storyline is fun, but in fact, in my opinion, it's not doing anything for the AEW championship.
It
So
would
now
be fine if it's fine if Kenny Omega is the TNA champion.
Because now when Kenny has to eventually lose these belts, if he still has the AEW championship, it's not going to mean as much, because he has lost these titles in other promotions.
No, I would hope what happens is he has a long-term injury, kayfabe long-term injury, or whatever, and he has to.
Right, because Braun Strowman's going to rip him in half and chuck one end over here, one other end
let
over
me just
there.
throw this out there real quick. Before anybody else signs with the company, who would you throw the belt on if you had the option right now? And keep in mind, we do have the Jungle Boy match coming up, and I understand you guys think that's just a bullshit farce, and that it'll never happen. Where I have actually been watching the project, and I kind of feel, guys, there's seriously maybe a possibility. I know you're going to think that's crazy. I know.
It's one of that's a Jeff Hardy kind of, but sort of even lesser.
It would be wild. It would be insane.
It'd be wild. Yeah.
People would go nuts.
Truthfully, no, I don't think that. I mean, if anybody, I think they put it on Andrade. I think he's out. He's out there. I don't think they put it on him immediately. I think
that would be
terrible.
Thing happened. Yeah, he can't. He can't just come out in 2 weeks and get it. Hell,
well, I think this Jungle Boy thing happens. I don't think it's going to be 2 weeks. I think it'll be a month or two. Obviously, the Jungle Boy thing happens. You know, they go through that.
Well, okay, maybe so I'm going to interrupt you because I know you love that so much. Because 2 weeks ago, you said how much you fucking hated Andrade. Hated him.
So
he was a piece of shit human. He
does raise valid points.
That is a good point, and he is a shit human, and apparently allegedly. But go on. Look, I'm just saying, as a wrestler, like as a human, like I don't want to be friends with the man.
I mean,
but I don't want to be friends with Kenny Omega either.
No, that's just because he does gymnastics here.
Yeah, I don't want to be friends with either of them.
He does this.
Yeah. You're in the Spirit Haters Club for fingers. Anyways, well, what do you have
Jeffrey
to say, buddy?
Based on like what I've seen, leading into Double or Nothing, I really feel like somebody like Christian Cage has been undervalued.
No,
I know that I was really hard on that signing. But I do feel that he's been a little undervalued. He's in the mid card a little bit, and I don't necessarily think he needs to be there. He had the one segment with Kenny, Derek, and then he's kind of been in the mid card since. And like I feel like he's somebody that you could use, especially as somebody that you have touted as a marquee signing. you kind of need to put him in that fold a little bit. I feel like that's an answer. Andrade is definitely an answer. And Kenny is actually not a bad choice, but I just feel like with everything that is going on, they've booked themselves into a corner, and they're not going to look good getting out of it. They're really not.
There's a way they could, and let me lay this out. So they did this thing at Double or Nothing, and that wasn't good. But they needed 2 guys to do it. It was fun. It was the worst thing on the show, but it wasn't bad per se. Next they do Jungle Boy, who's obviously over. He does his thing. Walt, I agree with you. Put Christian Cage in there. Have him feud with Christian Cage for a little bit.
That would be something I would want to watch.
Right. And then maybe have him feud with Andrade now that Andrade's there. Clearly those will at least be good matches. I don't know that you have to put it on Andrade, but have him at least beat Andrade. And then there are 2 guys who are not yet in the company, but who could be. And once you get through all 3 of those feuds, you could build one or the other. Mr. Samoa Joe and or Mr. Braun Strowman. So both of these humans, top tier talents, main event. Look, if Samoa Joe comes out there and chokes out Kenny Omega, nobody will be surprised, and it will be like, oh my, that'll be the biggest.
Right.
That will be the biggest pop. They will have the biggest jump in ratings that they've had. Even if they have it on a Friday, or if it's on TBS or whatever, oh my God, Samoa Joe choked out Kenny Omega. Did you see it? That'll be the biggest thing anybody could talk about in wrestling.
So while I agree with you, I also agree with Derek's face.
He doesn't even have to win it. I'm just saying, throw him in there.
No, and I get where you're coming from. And Samoa Joe is absolutely a valid candidate for that main event level push in AEW. But I think what Derek is kind of scoffing at with his funky little face over here is the fact that we're talking about a bunch of WWE guys. And the problem is
guys who are over though, and
you're exactly correct. But at the same point in time, we come in here a lot, Tom, and we're critical on the AEW product, and we talk about homegrown talent. And the problem is
Samoa Joe has grown.
I would say that Samoa Joe is not a WWE guy.
No.
His stint in WWE is shorter than in any other company that he's been in his entire career, correct?
Yeah.
So
if you don't count NXT, yeah, I think so.
But still, I think from a homegrown standpoint, Derek, if I were to suggest that anybody in AEW challenge for the AEW championship against Kenny and possibly take it from him, it's going to have to be Cody Rhodes. And
I'm just thinking back to that stipulation of I'll never challenge for it again.
Nope.
I don't know if they'll keep that.
He's going on leave anyway because he's going to have a daughter.
What's he doing when he comes?
I don't think he's off the table. I don't
What's
disagree.
he doing when he comes back?
I would watch that, and I agree with you. I just don't necessarily know that that's on the table. That's all.
Here's what I think it needs, boys, and I would love to see this, and I think a large portion of the audience would love to see a Lance Archer run for a minute. Why not?
That could be good too.
He was brought in as the Murder Hawk Monster. He was supposed to be this huge beast that was just going to destroy everyone. And he's just been shit on. And unfortunately, I do have to say this. I recently watched The Dark Side of the Ring for Jake the Snake, and damn, that's a life. That's a nightmare of a life.
I haven't finished that yet.
It is insanity, bro.
It is a rough watch. That's a rough watch.
Oh, wow. But I feel like he is being brought down by being stuck with Jake the Snake, and I would love to see Lance Archer just come out there and get him a run at something. Give me the TNT title. Give me the AEW title.
They're not going to take that up. I mean, truthfully, if Miro just runs roughshod through Kenny Omega or something,
but
too.
That's we're talking about a WWE guy. I'm
too early to do this too. That would be unified championship.
Half the roster.
You can't have both at the same time at this point. Could you imagine
the Young Bucks? I mean,
fuck no.
Cody's right. Cody's going to be. I mean, unless you're going to put it on Hangman, unless Hangman's going to take it from. Look,
and
Hangman's
that would
the only
be a viable option.
Look, but he's nowhere near it right now. It's almost like his character just doesn't even want to do it.
Hangman is like a 5-year plan. He is a 5-year plan. So from the struggle is just going to go on for years. He's always going to be in the picture. Always going to be there. Always a bridesmaid, never a bride. And you wait until 5 or 6 years in, and he'll finally get it, and it will be the hugest pop.
I'd love to see it on Hangman. I would, but
after we get through 2 or 3 more pandemics and all that.
I don't think he's next.
So, Derek, to your point, okay, Lance Archer. They've already fucked that up, pal.
For sure.
They fucked that up on day 2.
No, they fucked that up on day 1 because they should have never put him in the fucking TNT title tournament with Cody Rhodes in there when they knew they were going to put that belt on Cody. They should have never fucking put him in that tournament. They made him look like a monster in that tournament. Every single match was a squash. He looked big. He was over. Then all of a sudden he gets into the finals and he can't even barely compete with Cody Rhodes. They fucked it up on day 1. They've got a long road back with Lance Archer. Okay.
He's on dark. He's not even competing necessarily. Like, he competes on their YouTube stuff. He's not.
So they've got a long. He's been on Dynamite
a little bit, but not much.
But they've got a long road back with that. Okay. So listen, we kind of went off the rails a little bit here. So let's bring it back in. So what do we think that this Andrade signing does for the AEW title picture?
I mean, it puts Andrade in the picture for sure. There's no doubt in my mind that's why he's here. I don't think he's going to win it, but they're going to do this Jungle Boy thing, and then he's in it. I don't necessarily think that Andrade is a WWE guy, but
I would say no.
You know, they dragged Vicky Guerrero out.
Listen, I think that's a phenomenal parable. I think that's a phenomenal pairing.
No, yeah, I agree. I think I mean, she's annoying, but he's going to be a heel. So
I guarantee that his little shtick is going to be the same with her as it was with her and Edge, where they're like flirty and like maybe not to the point where like they're making out on the ramp and shit, but like super flirty and things like that. And like she's going to be a great mouthpiece for him while he continues to learn the language. And actually, like the little snippet of his promo that he cut was actually fairly passable.
I thought that's what I wanted to actually bring up to you guys, man. I've been sold on this idea that he apparently can't cut promos and that he knows nothing about the language. And then all of a sudden I'm treated to this in what my mind was a very decent Andrade promo.
Yeah. Listen,
I felt that his cadence was good. His delivery was good.
Absolutely. It's better than I was day 1.
It's what I expected. It's what I expected to hear out of somebody. Look, I think Andrade's good. As far as in-ring capabilities are concerned, I mean, man can have a good match with anybody. It's not even even if he feuds with Kenny Omega, he'll get good matches out of Kenny Omega. At least he'll be pay-per-view quality matches. And I feel like that's really what's lacking is the pay-per-view quality match out of the champion. Even if he doesn't win, I don't know that he's necessarily a champion yet. Certainly not, especially heel versus heel necessarily. But I think they could dislike each other on the level, especially in AEW. They could dislike each other on a level of just like, well, I'm cocky and I've got all these people behind me and I'm the best thing ever. I'm the idol. El Idolo. I'm the idol. So yeah, so I think for sure he's going to be immediately inserted in. Here's the time for Hangman probably.
Here's the thing for me. Okay, so obviously Andrade was La Sombra pre WWE.
Mm-hmm.
So he gets released from his contract and he manages to negotiate to keep his name, keep the rights to his name. And we had talked about this when he was released that, hey, maybe this is in good faith from WWE. Hey, go out, get yourself over somewhere else, come back into the fold, welcome home. You know what I'm saying? And now all of a sudden he shows up on AEW television. Yeah, I don't know how well that's gonna sit in Connecticut. But at the same point in time, I think that he's in the right place.
I would say you're reaching pretty far if you think that really happened, as far as that's like kind of a Brian Pillman type of situation where he would have got a release letter faxed over
that's not what I'm
said,
saying,
I'll be
pal.
right back. And
that's not what I'm saying, because you look at somebody like Drew McIntyre who got released and the conversation was had, hey, go out, get yourself over, work yourself back. That's what I'm talking about.
That's fine, but Drew McIntyre went to a much lower level promotion.
Exactly, but
I hate to bust your guys' hatred bubble, but
there's no hatred bubble. That was the only thing that was
to a
that
TNA area.
That's the only thing that existed outside of the WWE bubble, pal.
That was the top level outside of that bubble, though, at the time.
If I'm in charge, I'm not going to give my bubble the chance to go to an AEW realm. That's what I'm doing with my bubble.
I don't think Vince cares anymore. I think Vince sees.
I think Vince selling and he doesn't give a shit. Yeah.
I mean, maybe potentially.
Yeah. I mean, listen, the rumor's been floating around, and like I wanted to touch on it, when we were done with these WWE releases, but we kind of naturally progressed into AEW talk, and I didn't want to screw it up. But I mean, it's very possible that we're being positioned for a sale here from WWE.
I'd say by 2024, when the Fox deal runs out, that's whenever you're going to see some action.
Then it doesn't make sense that they're doing these releases now.
Why? You need to keep that on your books as an accountant for a couple years. I know last episode you mentioned that you have your law degree. I also have an accounting degree, so
I mean, I agree.
I got you.
I agree with that, but most of these were like,
bud.
Most of these, I agree, but most of these were low-level releases. So what you're saying is we're going to continue to see like high-level Braun Strowman level releases to really cut the budget. Like,
I mean,
overall,
I don't necessarily know that
the amount of money
I don't necessarily know that this list was low-level, pal.
No, I don't think it was low-level, but I mean, it's. Are they positioning?
I think $1 million was shaved. $1 million was shaved off right there.
But
that's attractive to another company.
Are they not going to have to like? How long till that Fox deal's up?
24.
Like that's 4 years in wrestling. 4 years is forever.
Maybe they sell it without that. Maybe they sell it with the caveat that hey, that's intact until it's out, but you got us.
I'm just saying
and then it goes on Disney Plus.
That'd be fine too. But I'm just saying that like that's that in 4 years, like that's forever in wrestling time. 4 years ago, who was a champ 4 years ago? I mean, who was still in the title picture 4 years ago? Like
it was either John Cena or Randy Orton.
Cena, The Undertaker, Randy Orton,
Roman Reigns,
Seth Rollins.
Yeah, it was probably
Goldberg,
Reigns,
Brock Lesnar.
Oh,
Brock Lesnar. Hey, rumors he's coming back.
Probably. I mean, maybe that's what they're clearing up the money for, so that it still looks good to sign Brock Lesnar up for however many millions he's getting.
Makes sense.
They're like, well, we got to keep the budget low to this level, but Brock wants this, so
yeah, he's a $15 million a year guy, so we got to work that in there.
Let's pivot. Let's pivot back to the other guys. Okay, Tom, specifically, this one's for you, pal, just because. Last week, you and I sat here and we gushed over Double or Nothing. And Derek, obviously we're gonna chime in here too, but how do you feel we did on the first episode coming out of Double or Nothing?
It was a dumpster fire. Not only was it a dumpster fire, I mean, other than the Andrade part was okay, although I still find Vicky Guerrero annoying, but I felt that Andrade.
Well, I mean, that's the point.
You're right. Yes, I understand that. But I mean, it was not a good show, and their ratings were bad, very bad. how do I feel they did out of their? So I actually kind of like partially tuned in to watch, and it was just not. It was not a show I wanted to watch. Felt like they phoned it in, and I don't know. I don't really remember much of it. It really wasn't worth watching, other than like, oh my god, Andrade. But otherwise, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty weak effort coming out of a blockbuster Double or Nothing. That you and I who are historically low on the AEW product, was definitely riding a high going into Friday night, and I feel like they laid an egg. I feel like they started out really strong, but as the show went on, it tapered off, and it was just not good.
And I want to point out that they also told us that, like, just for laying future plans, they told us that John Moxley was out indefinitely. Clearly, I mean, it's kayfabe. Clearly, like, Renee is about to give birth. He wants to be there for his. We've all been there. Our wives, when when your wife is at the end of her pregnancy, she needs you to be there and not, wrestling professionally.
Right. Right.
So it's important for that. It's important for him to do that. But so that's clearly why he's out of the title picture and why he's out just period for now. Cody, similarly, I know that Brandy is due soon as well. So for me, it's like that's two of their very tippy top guys that we're that are sort of being written off of television, and that sort of culminated with this show. In addition to it sort of not being great overall. So yeah, I get it. It's difficult for them where they are right now. I think that they're going to have a good time being able to debut people and have, because Mark Henry was there too. Nice to see Mark Henry.
Yeah.
But
hey, he's got a lot left in the tank, Tony.
It's what he says. But so I feel like they're going to have to use a lot of this, like, hey, this guy's debuting. And unfortunately, they're going to be WWE guys because that's all that's existed for 20 years. Truthfully, you're either a WWE guy or you're not. And so they've got some work to do as far as that's concerned. But they've got to get some build going here, and they've got to get some homegrown talent going. I know, they had Sting and Darby. Sting's match was great, by the way. Darby is their like over guy, and he doesn't have that title anymore, so they could potentially insert him into that main event title picture, with Sting in his corner.
I think it's too soon.
I don't know how believable it is. I don't know that they just want to wreck that because they got, top guys out having babies. I don't know, but it is where it is. It is what it is.
So my opinion on it is, dude, check this out, and maybe you'll agree. With such a length in between their pay-per-views, because they do one a quarter.
Yeah, they do 4 a year. Yeah.
Maybe that's where we're at. Like they don't have to necessarily come out of the gate strong. They can kind of lay a little bit of groundwork going into the next segment. I don't know. I wasn't really superly impressed with the Friday night product, just because I was so high coming off a Double or Nothing, and then I wasn't impressed with Dynamite. Derek, what you think about Dynamite, pal?
Guys, the view you're coming to me with, it just makes me sick to see that you don't have the patience. Guys, we talked this whole episode about, well, let me rephrase that. The whole last episode that I was not here for, that I listened to recently, you guys spoke the whole time about the buildup, the months and months of buildup that you got for these final matches on Double or Nothing. And you guys completely appreciated them.
You do have a point. Both of you. Pal. You do have a point.
You got to, I know, I'm not going to sit here and defend Dynamite this week and say that it was some fucking Picasso episode. It was a stinker. It was terrible. It was what it was. But that was last pay-per-view was a culmination of the last year of the season, as you might call it, of wrestling. We actually saw some huge, endings, tying up some loose ends, all that good stuff. It's going to take some time to start stuff back up. We got to figure out what the new, and am I saying that's completely correct? Should they have had A, B, C, D, and then EFG at least partially along to have a nice episode to flow into? Of course they should have.
Yeah,
but
because I mean,
that
bro,
episode is on a Friday night, which is not their normal time.
Okay.
And it's at 10 p.m., which is also not their normal time.
But you're also
so the
in a
fact that
position
you guys
to
are bringing up
capitalize.
numbers, it's a bullshit episode. I'm not going to throw the best. Shut the fuck up. I'm not going to throw the best I have at a Friday night 10 p.m. episode whenever I'm normally on Wednesdays at 8. I love you, Juan. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Listen. Here's the thing, pal. Okay, and while you're partially right, you're almost entirely incorrect. So, while you're partially right, yeah, they weren't on their time slot. They weren't on their normal night. And all that's well and good, but you're coming off of the best wrestling pay-per-view in the last 2 years.
Yeah, I heard
and
you.
I mean
you reference that.
I mean that totally. Like, it's better than anything I've seen from the other guys. Like,
I don't know that I agree, but it was solid. We'll call it top 5.
And that's coming from somebody that does not come in here and gush week after week about the AEW product. However, there was a lot of open-ended stories coming out of Double or Nothing that they could have continued to build on Friday night, coming off of and capitalizing on WWE's Friday night audience. And we've talked about this, all three of us, where with Rampage coming, that's going to be their time slot, pal. So they need to understand how to capitalize using that time slot. They're getting a free tester right now to capitalize on using that time slot. And they left us with no answers to no stories that they told, that they left unfinished at Double or Nothing. Nothing. We got nothing.
It was a house show. I mean, that's literally what it looked like.
A house show.
So, and I'm going to disagree with you here on this point. You said they wrapped up a season and now they're starting a new season. The season premiere is often the most watched episode and the most anticipated episode of a season of a show. Period.
Listen,
whether
Monday after Mania is bananas.
Right? I mean, this year not so much, but generally, yes, it is.
I can't argue that, but it was stupid that they put it on a different time slot. They don't really think that affected it hugely. True,
but they didn't build it. Look, they could have advertised it all week. They could have bought advertising slots, and they could have actually put a good show together, which they didn't do.
Right.
Look, the fans know what's coming up, and they looked at the card and they were like, all that's new, and I'm not interested. So. It's throwaway. It's at a different time. That's the other thing, too. If you're on a different time slot, you need to give people a reason to tune in. And they didn't do that. And there was no reason for anybody to tune. I tuned in just because I was watching SmackDown. So I flipped over and I was like, oh, okay, let's watch a little bit. And I watched, I watched Vicky Guerrero come out, and I watched Andrade. I'm like, okay, all right. And then I kept watching.
And it all went downhill from there.
And I was like, all right, I'm going to bed. Good night. Or I went and played like video games or something. And it was just not. They didn't keep me like no. I tuned in because I said, okay, well, I just watched a good SmackDown because it was the Roman Reigns show, and I'm into that. And I could watch more wrestling. Let's put on some wrestling, and then I put it on. And
let me crack another beer. And
I put it on, and they didn't keep me, and I wandered away. So that was the end of it. And I think that seems to be that was the trend of the show. If you looked at the numbers, and that's on them, and they're not a built enough promotion to do that, and they're going to move to TBS. Things are going to get shifted around. It's not. This is not I'm just saying this is not a show that's not in like that's in like a very solid like we're gonna get 1 million people every Wednesday once it moves back to Wednesday, and then we're gonna sit there.
But it's gonna be fine. Like they're gonna move it to a new spot, and it'll get fine, and it'll have a normal 250,000 audience and 500,000 audience and 1 million audience, whatever. It'll be back in a normal slot.
is TBS where AEW goes to die? Is this the
no, it's not. That's not what I hate that episode. I do. That's not.
Is this?
What's up.
I'm just saying. Is this the beginning of the end?
If look, this is the beginning of the end, then you guys can enjoy your shitty Raw product.
I don't want to enjoy that. I want it to be good.
Then why do you guys have to hate on it so much?
I'm not because
try to promote it. Can you try?
I should sit here.
I'm not going to sit here. I'm not going to sit here and gush.
I'm not asking you to gush over bullshit
that I'm not enjoying, pal. Like, I don't enjoy Monday Night Raw. I don't sit here and give sparkling reviews about Monday Night Raw. When was the last time? When was the last time you heard me give a glowing review about Monday Night Raw?
Raw's still getting 1.2 million viewers, though. Look, that's the look. I watch all this stuff. Like, I put it on. I don't watch Raw intently. I put it on, and then like Miz comes out, and like, shouldn't you be eaten by zombies? And I shut it off, and that's the end of it.
Listen, here's the deal, okay, Derek, and we talk about this all the time. What entertains you might not entertain Tom, and what entertains Tom might not entertain me. That's why we do what we do. We sit here and we talk about wrestling because we all see it from different fucking glasses, from different eyes. You know, you said it yourself in the group message. You know, you prefer the more theatrical, you know, this, that, the other, whatever. And Tom is, you know, more astute to the in-ring performance. Okay. And for me, when I watch a show, like what I look at is I look at the performers themselves, what they're doing to make me believe what they are doing is actually happening in real life.
You guys are making me miss NXT. So.
Okay, well, I'm missing NXT too, pal. So let's not forget that.
I guess it's about wrapped up.
Yeah, I guess we're done. Guess we'll just talk.
Yeah, Tom's hinting, so we got. He's the hitman. He will. Yeah, he'll
sore that you're making me miss NXT this week, but it's okay.
So
I'll watch tomorrow.
That's fine. You know.
Hey, I hope you're hiring of it well.
Listen, pal. At least I scheduled it. I scheduled it and I didn't say, hey, 10 minutes before we're in the studio, hey, pal, can we record on Wednesday? At least I didn't do that. At least I gave you guys like 4 days notice on it. So,
I am going to schedule you right now. We'll do it on the podcast. I'll schedule you. Next Monday ain't going to work for me because I got to work at 7.
Oh, what the fuck is that?
Legit work.
Let's do it on Sunday.
We'll talk about that off air.
We can do it Sunday.
On Sunday so I can watch wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like Tom.
Let's
way
do
better
it
than
Sunday.
you.
All right, great.
I'll do anything Tom wants.
Let's wrap this shit up. Match of the week.
I don't have a fucking match of the week. You know what my match of the week is? It's fuck the WWE, and this week was a complete stinker. There was no good wrestling matches. There was nothing. There was nothing for me. I saw nothing good. But no, I got nothing. I had to jump out there because otherwise it would have been a big old, to do.
Yeah, then you would have looked like an idiot.
It was terrible.
I like what you did, pal. Tom, match of the week.
Well, you're wrong because MSK versus Legado del Fantasma.
Whoa. What's this use? I have a match of the week that I thoroughly enjoyed.
Okay, well, Derek Yins.
Okay.
Derek.
Okay.
Derek Yins. Legado del Fantasma versus MSK for the title, which was the main event of NXT, was a few too many run-ins. Truthfully, if I'm going to be a little bit critical about it, but man, God, Legado del Fantasma is just so good, and I'm over. MSK's gotten over for me. They're white. Generally, I'm more into them.
They are as white meat as it's.
They are white meat baby faces, and man, it's hard not to root for them. It really is.
Well, they're white meat baby faces with a real life story. That WWE and NXT is trying to tell. Like
it is hard not to root for these guys, and man, is Legado del Fantasma good, and man, did I enjoy that match. And it was one of those things where I shut it off. I was like, yeah, all right. I loved it. It was great. It was fantastic. I watched it, live on USA, and it stuck in my mind. It's still, here we are. This is a week later, as we're recording here on a Tuesday. It was what was burned into my brain, And so that's the one. That was it. It was the one.
It was a good match. It really was. So my match of the week came from Friday.
Also a good show.
10 p.m. AEW Dynamite.
Oh.
I really enjoyed the Young Bucks versus Death Triangle.
You did?
I did.
I go with absolutely nothing this week and say I hated AEW, but you come out with that's your match of the week?
I mean, you got to pick something, I guess.
Listen.
Oh, no. Let him explain. Because surely this must be good.
Listen. So, Derek, since you just listened to last week's show a couple of hours before you came in here,
yeah,
you would know that I
those Young Bucks be Young Bucksing.
I ate a little humble pie last week, especially where the Young Bucks were concerned. Whenever I said that their heel turn wasn't believable, so as I continue to watch them blossom into their new heel personas, I become more and more involved in what they're actually doing. And I really, really am digging the way that they're acting. They are getting over with me as heels.
Lots of good throwback heel stuff, to be fair.
Yes. And that stuff, I was just getting ready to talk about that. Those little spots poking fun at the business is absolutely a must-see television. They did the Bret Hart this week.
They did.
And they did the Bret Hart the day after Bret Hart's A&E biography documentary released. They did the Bret Hart the day after that.
Oh, good.
Man, I'm into what they're doing right now, and I am not ashamed to say it. And if you put Pac and Penta in the ring with the Young Bucks, it's going to be fun. And, it wasn't super spot festy. There was a couple of big spot festy spots like let's look at each other on the apron and then do, stereo moves.
Yeah.
I know what I'm saying.
That I thought was bad, but anyway,
listen, it wasn't like, oh wow, but like the moves looked good, so I have to appreciate that, right?
Yeah, that was bad.
I enjoyed the match.
Yeah.
I did,
and I ain't mad at you.
And then for me, that's when Dynamite took a downward spiral, and I'm the first one to come in here week after week, dog on the Young Bucks, feeling the need to open the show every week. But they got me this time.
I mean,
that's good.
Truthfully, I did watch that. That's probably the only match I did watch on Dynamite. And now that you put it that way, I'm like, I guess I did watch that. It's hard for me to not be like very, oh my God, like kind of over it before it even starts, like with a Young Bucks match. It's like, it's a Young Bucks match. And
listen,
like I was looking for the Spot Fest, and the Spot Fest you pointed out, I was like, oh Jesus, here we go.
The Young Bucks ended up Young Bucking.
They did.
Like I was still high on them coming off the pay-per-view, and they got me.
Okay, all right.
I'm
not gonna fight you on that.
I was into it, pal.
All right, I'm not gonna fight you on that, but I'm not saying that like. I'm not saying I agree. I'm just saying that it was
you don't have to agree.
It was something. It was something, is what it was. I don't know if it was something good, but it was something. And truthfully, though, and I'm going to say this about the Bucks, is that like I would like it more if they weren't like some sort of champion. Truthfully, but whatever. It is what it is.
I mean,
FTR should have those titles.
They're elevating the AEW tag team championship.
Are they? Because I feel like
FTR
would be better with it. Because
I'm not disagreeing with that statement either, but unfortunately, FTR is in a stable feud right now, and I don't necessarily know that's the right
I feel like that
place
should be over now, and now they should put those back on FTR.
Yeah,
but that's just
that's gonna
happen. No.
Get out of here. Yeah. All right, let's wrap it up.
All righty, gentlemen. Yeah, it was fun having to talk about AEW a little bit, and Derek kind of explaining his stance, I guess. I don't know. He
Still upset
Yeah.
about these releases. It makes it hard to watch WWE.
I kind of hate Tom now. We're not friends anymore.
You would love me if you met me in real life.
I'm gonna hug you so hard.
You should. Why you just died?
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. I mean, that is if Derek shows up.
I might be napping.
With all that being said, thanks for hanging out. Oh, fuck me. You gotta follow us on social media, folks. At
Be good.
@1_Fall WC. That's ONE on both Twitter and Instagram. Check us out on YouTube. If you're watching us on YouTube, you know that we exist. Please like and subscribe. Yeah, and if you're listening to us in your truck or your car, hey, we appreciate you people too. You guys are phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Thank you so very much for your continued support. So with all that being said, thanks for hanging out. It's all love. We'll catch you next week. One Fall WrestleCast.
Peace out.